How's it going, guys? Okay, CDNbadass, Canadian Badass, asked me about the my garage thing, so I'm gonna get there. Sealed that together last night. The only stuff I could find was this stuff here. I couldn't find that fiber stuff, so I gotta go inside and, you know what I mean, and then up and flip it over. But I got both sides done. My buddy was here not too long ago. I just came back from the dump. That side's done. And yeah, so let's go check that out before the sun goes down. Bring our grandchild in soon. He's got school tomorrow, so we've got to get him home so he can take a bath, maybe a little bit of time to play with his friends. I'm not sure. There's Mr. Knucklehead. Okay, so this is what I got here, guy. Canadian Badass. For anybody, really. First of all, this tarp thing is 12 by 20. So the first thing I did was I set up the rails. I went all the way around and put 2x4. And then where the two 2x4s would meet up together, I would put a piece of plywood to keep it together. And then every, I don't know, in between each one of these, because this is 4 feet, so from here to here, I put rebars. They're probably about 2.5 feet long, and I just hammered it into the ground. The reason for the 2x4s is to screw the post down. And yeah, this is not, it's not going nowhere. With the plywood, and what else did I do? I put these in to tighten up the roof, because you know, if you don't have these in here, this tarp will lean on here and it'll start sagging in the center and everything, and then it's more, I'm hoping at least this winter she'll slide off. But anyways, I got 3 different panels here, so I bought a total of 6 for the front and back. And what I did was I brought it out where the 4 foot was, and I grabbed this tarp and I flipped it so I can get on the inside, and held it in place, grabbed the pencil, traced it out, cut it, and then used clamps to clamp it down, and I put a bunch of nuts and bolts through the plywood in the well, they call it fucking reinforcements, fucking brace, but it's garbage, this brace. And then so that's how this is holding on. It'd be like a 2x4 but made out of metal. And then I put tape so this way it doesn't thing. And then I did the same, that side there, and then I did the center. I made sure, you know, that it was 4 feet in the center, so all I had to do was slide it on. These 2x4s here are just to keep the separate panels, 4x8 sheets of plywood or whatever you want to call it, together. And then I went on the other side and crisscross screwing it together. And and obviously this is more than 8 feet, so I had to tap in a piece of top there. And then I put a, like I said, I did the 2x4 all the way around, and then I put this up so this way I had something to screw the bottom of it down. The door opening, I only made it so, actually I fucked up on the measurements. I don't know what the hell how that happened, but this one here is closer to this than this one here, so, but same thing, repeat on this other side. I turned around and built, you know, how far I wanted out, and built this frame here, right, just loosely, and then I turned around and I grabbed another 2x4, so it's the 2x4 going like this way here, which is like 3 3/4, not even a true 2x4. It's like 1 1.5, 1 3/4 by 3 3/4, facing that way. And then just all the way around I did that. And then to strengthen it up more, I put plywood. As far as, you know what I mean, whatever plywood, so I made the same length. And then I turn around and make this L bracket here and screwed it all in. So this way, there's going to be no caving in of the door opening. But yeah, you could turn around, you know what I mean, and extend it out, what, another half a foot down. I forget what the measurement of this is. I think it's 6 feet or something like that. I forget. I think it's about 6 feet. And then that's it. The idea is to you know, start with your frame all the way around. You can even use you know, 4x4s or 4x6s, and that will give you more height too. You're talking about, so you bring a car in, a standard size car is what, 5.5, 6 feet, so you know, it'd be a pretty tight fit. But if you know, if you don't plan on bringing a truck in, you could go lower, you know what I mean. But this shed's not going nowhere, guys. It's staying there. And then I gotta turn around before the winter comes and strap this down, keep that tight. And then I gotta grab, because the ground is so uneven, I have an opening here. You see what I did? There's a rebar there, strapped it. All I did was I went flush with the leg and that, so yeah. So what I got to do now is I got to grab plywood and go from, you know, a little higher, but bolt it into the frame here and then screw it in down here. And it doesn't matter if this guy's blowing around or not, no snow will get in. So there you go. They're CDNbadass, I think it is. That's what it is. Of course, I wasn't thinking. I should have turned around and kept the canvas and threw the back part on too, and it would have protected this. Now I have to paint it because I already threw out the because it was ripped, and same with the front, like I bought this originally and I sold it to my friend, and then he built the garage this year, took it down, so I offered him some money and he said no, I'll just take it. And so a few little holes in it, but that's all right. The roof is nice and tight, probably bounce a quarter off of it, and yeah. And if you really like, I watch your videos, so you know what I mean, if you want, you know, now you got a nice solid back wall. Okay, this is 4 feet, right? So if you say leave that opening and build like a wall, add a 4x8 room on the back for your toolbox and odds and ends, so this way there's not laying along the side. You could do that, you know, and put a lean like this right here where I got my air compressor. I built this room for my air compressor and then for odds, well, for the furnace too, but just a half a pitch, that's all it is. That's all you need. Just go right off the back. I found my I found the way I wanted it to go, and cut the angle on the 2x4s, and then what's holding the 2x4s is the plywood, a piece of plywood, you know, like plywood like that, and then got it up there and nailed it. And I did double plate top and double plate the sides. I gotta find a woolly bird because I do want to, you know, winter time when it comes, you know, I put a heater right in front of where the drain plug is, which I wonder how much water is in there because I haven't drained it for a while now. I want to continue this drain into the next room so this way I don't forget. But you have to, you know, for people that keeps their air compressors outside of the garage, you need to have heat down here or else it'll freeze there. And that's not very cool. And then all winter you'd be gathering water and freezing it. A lot of water, right guys? Yeah. Oh shit, I'm hooked on phonics. I eventually I used to do this all the time, was take the breather and stick it outside. So this way it's getting fresh air, not the heat that's coming from the air compressor. You stick it outside and you're getting fresh air 24/7. You know, just boot it outside. I found this at the dump today. Screen doors are pretty expensive. It's I've been finding really small ones, and then I looked at this one. It's like okay, that's pretty big. It doesn't fit none of the fucking doors. It's too big now. The other ones were too small. This one's too big. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna peel back this son of a bitch here, and I'll put a screen door here. 'Cause that's what I want. I want a screen door, so this way summertime, you know what I mean, in that room and that. So yeah. What are you doing, knuckle brain? Hey, what are you doing, jackass? Come here. Hey? Yeah, sit. Good boy. Stop. Don't get silly. Now shake paw. Oh, you shake paw. Shake that paw. Good boy. Yeah. Hey? Don't get dumb now. So there you go. Canadian Badass. I'm assuming that's, yeah. That's how you did it, man. You know, yours is already set up. Just turn around and frame it all the way around. So this way your poles are screwed down to something that's solid. Grab some rebar, 2 feet long, 2.5 feet long, and fucking hammer it into the ground. And then what else? And then so now, like I said, the top is so, you know what I mean? It's not even touching the rails now. And then what I did after was I pushed up the bar in the center. I pushed this up in the center, and I have mechanics wire, so I wrapped around one nut and bolt, tightened it up, went over here, tightened it up, and I took the plywood or the 2x4 away, and it made the center tight. So there's none of these rails in the tarp is not even touching each other. So but I do have to get the doors on this soon. Either I'll go the same size door, or one bigger and one smaller, and then the one that I'll be using all the time, or the one I'm not using as much, I'll just latch it and I'll pound a big fucking pipe in the ground, a hollow pipe. This way you can put one of those slide locks on the bottom. And that's all, yeah. So there you go, a little view of my thing there. You know, for the money they charge for those, they're fucking shitty, man. You know what I mean? When you got it's a nut and bolt canvas, that's it. And I know the first winter there, you know, if you don't pay attention, if you don't get snow off, it starts in between the rails, it's 4 feet. So, you know, winter time comes, you have to start, you know, sweeping the snow off of that, or else it's just gonna buckle right in. So that, or you know, they got bigger ones than that. You could turn around and, you know, before you put the canvas on, I think it's like $7 for a 1/2-inch sheet of that Bristol board, whatever you call it. And fuck, sheet the whole thing all the way around, then you got the strongest fucking tarp shed around. Then you turn around, put the canvas on top, so this way, you know what I mean, and then you're not breaking any laws. Like, you know, when you build a garage, it has to be inspected. Well, that's a portable garage, you know what I mean? It's movable, so you could turn around and panel all those walls, you know what I mean? And you'll have yourself a nice sturdy a thing, you know. You put some insulation, that pink styrofoam, and between each one, fucking, and if that's what you got, the only thing you got for a garage, and then fuck, you're good to, you know, play around, somewhere to play around. I know if I didn't have a garage, I'd fucking go haywire. You know, I got pretty lucky, I think, out of Thunder Bay. I lived down there for 7 years, 3 different houses. And out of 3 houses, only 1 house had a garage. So I found myself pretty lonely without a garage. Before I moved away from the city, I had a garage. Lived out in the country, I had even a bigger garage, bigger than this. But the only problem was there was no hydro running to it. So, and so yeah, so there was no hydro running to it. So that kind of sucked ass, you know what I mean? And but I've been pretty lucky. You know, the last house I was in had a garage that was 14 by 20. It's pretty small, man. And the best part about it was that it was insulated really good, easy to heat. But the problem was, when I first moved there, I had my, you know, 2.5 of these toolboxes put together to make I had a big snap on top and bottom, plus my bench, plus my air compressor, and plus a little heater. And it was all against the wall, and I couldn't bring even my truck in. So between the garage and then, what was it, about 12 feet away, behind the garage was a shed. So in between the garage and shed, there was a roof. So I just built onto the back of it, built walls, and built a floor where I kept my my air compressor and that. And then I decided to go oil furnace, so I built on another part of the room and moved my toolbox. I just kept it the dirt floor, put my furnace in there, and I ran ducts, and it was perfect, man. I couldn't do anything like in here, you know what I mean? I couldn't have nothing in that garage. I wouldn't even be able to have something like this, you know what I mean? So it was pretty well just go grab my stuff and go back into the other room, which separated with a screen door. And so I only had 14 by yeah, 20, 21 or something like that. So it's a pretty small garage, but I lived there for 5 years, and you know, I've painted Cadillacs in there. I painted lots of trucks. Yeah, I pulled a lot of vehicles in and out of that place. And then when, you know, when I was getting fucking the city on my ass all the time, because the guy lived 2 doors down there. Their last name, it's a big family in this city, and you know, their nephew or whatever, whoever is mayor of the city. So, you know, they think their shit doesn't stink and stuff like that. And, you know, fucking, he'd call the city on me. He'd call my landlord. He'd say, you know, I had people out in and out of my driveway 4 or 5 in the mornings, like fucking impossible, because I worked during the day. You know what I mean? And but they didn't believe him. They just, because it was a rundown old shack in a really nice neighborhood. You step out of the driveway, you look to the right, there's a golf course right there. And every house had, you know, really nice yards, big houses. Some houses had fucking indoor swimming pools. So I lived in a, you know, I lived with the Johnsons pretty well. And, you know, and there was my house, a house beside me, which was, you know, in better shape than mine, but the same small old house from the fucking 40s or whatever. And then the guy on the left hand of me, well, he added on to his place, so it made it bigger and nicer, and stuff like that. And you know, I sit there, I had a fire permit. Fuck, as soon as I lit that fire, the fire department within a half hour was at my place, because the guy 2 doors down tried everything to get me kicked out of the neighborhood. That tarp, when I bought that tarp, I put it in the front just to piss him off. I could have put it in the backyard, you know what I mean? It would have been tricky to get my because the garage and house were close together, but I've taken trucks and got in between, but it's kind of tricky. So I called my landlord. I said, I bought this garage, garage in a box. I said, I want to put my truck away for the winter. Can I set it in the front lawn? He says, yeah. He goes, you know, he He goes, you know, that guy's gonna call. I said, I don't care. I'm calling to ask for permission. So for 2 years or a year and a half, I had to sit in there. And I had to sit in there through the whole summer, through the winter, and another summer. And then next thing you know, I had the city fucking on my ass about that thing in my front yard, which I knew it was coming anyways. And then about vehicles, apparently I had vehicles laying all my backyard, parts all over and everything. So I told my wife, I said, you know what, let's just get the fuck out of this area, let's move somewhere else. And we found this house here. And it wasn't just, you know, there was multiple people that the landlord went, you know, he went to their houses, you know, he went to our house at 10 at night to see how you lived and shit like that, you know what I mean? Because he doesn't want somebody that's going to wreck his house and shit like that, you know what I mean? So he came in, so he met like a whole bunch of people that day, and we ended up winning the, getting the chance of moving out here. Which is great, you know what I mean? Because fucking, I got vehicles coming in and out, fucking company all the time, you know what I mean? People want to come out here and hang out because it's nice out here. You know, like my tattoo chummy, you know, he's got 2 young kids. The one little boy comes here quite often. You know, he comes out here. He spends a couple nights, and you know, he's got the run around, you know, and you know, same with my grandson. You know what I mean? Where my grandson lives, there's right across. It's a bunch of little rentals, and there's like tons of kids. So there's lots of kids, but there's no yard to play in. So it's good to get them out here, and then they, you know what I mean, they get lots of places to run around and shit like that. But okay, so I made this video about that, and I continued on about whatever else. It's 7 o'clock. We should be getting my grandson home soon. So yeah, I'm going to piece of metal there under here. And then seal it up in the back, and then she should be good to go. So there you go. They're CND, Canadian. I think we're down south there somewhere. I think you live. I used to live down south years ago. I used to live in Kitchener, Waterloo, Guelph, Cambridge, Ontario, and then Toronto for a bit. I didn't like Toronto. I was young and crazy and wild, whatever, back then, but I didn't like it. And that's why I ended up moving to Cambridge, or Waterloo. And Kitchener, Waterloo. But I'll let you guys go. And so there you go. You got a peekaboo at my the love shack there. And hopefully that information helps you out. Okay? Ciao.